I would like to ask you and any other media individuals that may be listening, do everything that you can to get attention on Altadena. That whole area has just about been flattened, and we have working class people do not have a lot of resources.
That seems reasonable, other than it's coming from Maxine Water, so I already know what she's up to. Welcome to John Mike Keene as Maxine Waters tries to control the narrative away from blaming Democrats.
Now, I did hear you and Adam, talk about Democrats versus Republicans. I'm not into that. I'm not into the blame game. I'm not into talking about whether or not Gavin Newsom is trying to protect himself and run for president. None of that.
Oh, she's not into the blame game because the blame is squarely on the Democrats and their policies as the cause of this disaster.
So I think it's time to use the media in a more professional and productive way. I would like to see all of the media have running on their screens where people can get help in all of these communities. Instead of this business about Democrats or Republicans.
Instead of, she's using this disaster to cover up for their cause of it.
However, it can also be seen that you don't want to talk about the politics because it's on your party, because the mayor and the governor are Democrats who arguably should have had the people in Altadena better prepared for this. They should have the resources more available so they don't need me to put them up because the state has been doing the work. And that if they've been preparing the situations for wildfires like they were made aware of, instead of cutting deals with PG&E and insurance companies, they would have prepared the state. That is not unfair criticism. Is it too soon? Maybe, but the questions are real.
To warn the world that Democrats will set your city on fire. Same way I believe they did much worse to the whole country than is going on in California right now.
Let me tell you something. I'm not in the business of protecting anybody. And I think that my work over the years that I've been involved have been absolutely on point in dealing what has to be dealt with in order to help the people.
Okay, let's see how she has helped the people in the past. How reasonable was she in a time of national emergency during our votes? What did she say?
We have to be very concerned about a former president of the United States talking about attacking his own country, talking about perhaps a bloodbath. I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Yeah, during Black Lives Matter, during any disaster, when it's not the Democrats' fault, Maxine Waters is ready to go political on a dime.
And I'm going to ask the president to tell us what they're going to do to protect this country against violence if he loses. If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
Maxine Waters foments politics all the time. That's her way. And now when it's her fault, her party's fault, that there's no resources in California because of the fires, she deflects and says it's not time for politics.
First thing you got to understand is services cost money. And we should be willing to get the richest people in this country, the richest 1% that is protected, make sure they pay their fair taxes so that we can have the money to provide the services.
And within the exact same interview, she goes to politics of the rich need to pay more taxes to be able to get these services done. That's politics, and she just now proved her own point wrong. But she has no problem with bringing up politics, so neither do I. I'm John Mike Keene.